This is The Herd, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. Live in Los Angeles, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1 right here. Joy Taylor is joining me every Friday. Peter King in 15 minutes. Supreme Court said gambling is legal. Of course, I was doing it for years anyway, but now I don't get in much trouble for it. We do our Blazing Five. This was an interesting week. There was a lot of line movement throughout the course of the week. And one of the things I talk about all the time is I bet numbers, not teams. And this week was all about numbers and line movement. In fact, generally, the best numbers I get on Monday morning. The best numbers were late in the week, not to complicate it, but if you bet football, you have to wait for the best line, and it was never more true than this week. So the Blazing Five is brought to you by Chili's, 3 for $10 deal. Get the new queso burger plus a starter and a Coke, only $10. Score with Chili's, 3 for $10 deal. Here is Blazing Five.
That's a hot one. Let's blaze it up. Fire it up. It's Colin's Blazing Five. Packers at Patriots.
Again, this started at Green Bay getting a little more than a touchdown. It's now New England -5, and I love that number. Let me simplify this. New England's a great home team, especially at night on TV. Green Bay's not a great road team. They're 0-3 this year. In fact, last 7 years, Aaron Rodgers, sub 500 on the road. Just say that out loud. Since week 4. The Patriots are first in wins, first in points, first in third down percentage. What does that mean? They'll keep the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands. By the way, Green Bay is allowing a lot of points. Their best defensive player for Green Bay is a rookie cornerback. I'm going to take the Patriots -5, 33-26. New England wins.
Chargers at Seahawks.
This will be entertaining. They both kind of run the same offense. I get the Chargers +1 at Seattle. I'm going to take the L.A. Chargers, who lead the NFL, not the Rams. The Chargers lead the NFL in what they call big plays. That's runs over 10 yards or passes over 20. It's not the flashy Rams. The Chargers lead the NFL in that. They call them big plays. The last month, nobody's beaten the Chargers. 28 a game. +5 turnover differential. The Seahawks are 0-2 against teams with winning records, the Bears and the Rams this year. And again, I think this is one of these really competitive, really fun games, but I get a hyper-aggressive offense and Phillip Rivers having his best year. I think they win this thing late on the road. Weather will not be a factor. It can sometimes in November in Seattle. I'll take the Chargers to go up to Seattle and win 28-23.
Lions at Vikings.
Minnesota -5 at home. Like it? I love it. One of my rules. Find a good football team, Vikings, that gets humiliated on national TV. Take them the next week. And they just got smoked by the Saints at home. This is a good football team. It's not Kansas City so far, New England. It's a good football team. Kirk Cousins is having a B+ year. In fact, he's having his best year. The Vikings defense is still top 10, 12, top 10 in the NFL. And Detroit's weird. Detroit just traded away Golden Tate. How's that going to play in the locker room? When I look at the Vikings, third down percentage, rushing yards, red zone touchdowns allowed, their defense is top 5 in everything. And again, how does the Golden Tate trade, how does that play in the locker room? It kind of feels like you're mailing in the season. That's what it feels like to me. I'm going to take the Vikings to win comfortably, 32-21.
Rams at Saints.
Everybody likes the Saints. Everybody likes the Saints. I'm going Rams -1. The Saints just came off a wildly emotional revenge television win against Minnesota. Very hard to duplicate that in another week. The Rams were outplayed at home by the Packers. For most of that game, if you watched it, they may have won. They were outplayed for about 75% of it. Listen, the Rams offense this year, let's just say they're great at everything. The thing to keep your eye on, they lead the NFL in rushing at 150 yards a game. Here's what travels. Running games travel. I think the Rams could be susceptible to go to a windy Philadelphia in the playoffs. You know, go to a cold Northeast city. Have to go to freezing Green Bay. In a dome, on a game they didn't play well but won. I think they're hyper-focused. I'll take the Rams to win the game 30-27.
Titans at Cowboys.
My favorite Blazing 5 pick of the week, Titans plus 5.5. I love this. Listen, you can't run on Tennessee. Nobody's run for over 85 yards this year on Tennessee. You can't run on Tennessee. What does it mean? It's going to be Dak's game. Now, Amari Cooper is going to work, I think, but is he going to work in the first game? He's been there 10 days. Tennessee plays real defense. They have an excellent defense, especially in the red zone. They force you to settle for field goals instead of getting touchdowns. They have the number 1 ranked red zone defense. And again, this is a low-scoring game. It's a number. I love the number. Now, I think Dallas is going to win this game. This is going to be ugly. All Titan games are ugly. They make you kick field goals. They don't give you touchdowns. So I think the Cowboys win 26-23. But I think this is an ugly take the 5 to 5.5 points, whatever number you can get, with the Tennessee Titans. Blazing 5 brought to you by Chili's, 3 for $10 deal. Get a starter, an entree, a Coke, $10. Queso burger, mushroom jack fajitas, starter, Coke, $10 from Chili's. So there's your Blazing 5. New England, both LA teams, the Vikings, and in a rare moment, I take a Tennessee football team. Volunteers or Titans, that doesn't happen much. If I'd have told you, do you remember, Joy? I think it's interesting because I think Drew Brees and Peyton host McVay and Goff this weekend. And Vegas has them as 2 of the top 4 Super Bowl favorites. I think Goff and Brees have a ton in common. And I think their careers are going to mirror each other. First of all, what do they have in common? Both had a hiccup early in their career. Both don't blow you away physically. Drew's kind of short, Goff's kind of thin. Not kind of thin, he is. Both played at non-traditional football powers. Both are incredibly giving teammates, well-liked. Both now have a genius offensive head coach. Both didn't start day one. And both have perfect weather. One 72 degrees outdoors, one, and it helps both. The other plays in a dome. But here's the thing they have in common. Do you remember, Joy, when Michael Vick broke into this league, and literally he's all we could talk about for 5 years? He was running around. Also at that time, Dante Culpepper was 6'6" and throwing the ball 100 miles an hour down the field to Randy Moss. So you had this Michael Vick dynamic player, and he was mesmerizing. Michael was absolutely mesmerizing. You had Dante Culpepper, who had the biggest arm in football. 6'6". He looks like a defensive end. He was throwing it to Randy Moss. You had Donovan McNabb, this great athlete from a basketball school, Syracuse. You had Carson Palmer, the USC prodigy. He looked like quarterbacks look. If I'd have told you then, you know who's going to have a better career than all of them? Drew Brees. You just said, well, timeout. Then Carson Palmer, Michael Vick, Dante Culpepper, and Donovan McNabb. Yeah, this kid, the short guy from Purdue, he's going to be better than all of them. Well, he holds more records right now than any quarterback not named Tom Brady in the history of the NFL. I think a similar thing is happening with Jared Goff. So Jared Goff comes into this league at the same time as Carson Wentz, who's bigger, stronger, and flashier. Deshaun Watson, high-profile Clemson. Athletic runs, throws. Patrick Mahomes, flashy, cannon, 90 yards. And I think Goff is going to end up having a better career than all of them. Just like Drew Brees, he has the perfect components to succeed. He's got the genius coach. He's got the ideal weather. He's got the great playmakers locked in, Todd Gurley. And he also, like Brees, does not see himself as a runner. Therefore, he will develop at the incredibly high level the skill of throwing from the pocket. He doesn't have his legs as an out, as an excuse, as a weapon. And Goff and Brees have both had their doubters. But when Brees broke into this league, people would have mocked me for saying he's going to be better than Vick and Culpepper and Carson Palmer and Donovan McNabb. And people think I'm crazy because Wentz, Deshaun, and Patrick Mahomes are bigger, stronger, and flashier. But Goff has the perfect setup. The richest owner, perfect weather, genius head coach, hyper-friendly free agent market, under-the-radar personality, and will not use his legs as a weapon, meaning he'll sit in the pocket in a bubble screen league and get rid of the ball quickly and probably add years physically to his career. Goff, McVay, to me, are the next Brees, Sean Payton. Coming up next, it sounds like it would work, Belichick, Rodgers. Let me just throw a couple things out there. Plus, Peter King on a Friday. What a gift for us. The great Peter King. Some thoughts heading into the weekend. Joins us live. That's coming up next. You know what? In sports, there are obviously smart moves, like showing up to practice on time, and moves that aren't so smart, like parking in the coach's spot. Same goes for hiring. You can go to these job sites that have a zillion resumes, but do they matter? Do they get you the right person? Do they get you to the right skilled, experienced, educated person? That's what ZipRecruiter does. They have a powerful matching technology, which is able to scan tens of thousands of resumes and then not only get you a resume, but the right experienced education level for the job. And they invite those people to apply to your job. That's why ZipRecruiter is rated number one by employers in the United States. Number one. Right now, my listeners can try it for free. Smartest way to hire is ZipRecruiter. If you're trying to find the right talent for your team, ZipRecruiter.com/herd. ZipRecruiter.com/HERD.